In today's noisy world, where everyone wants to speak, prove themselves, and assert their identity, silence has become a rarity, often misunderstood. We grow up in a culture that encourages self-expression, but rarely teaches the art of remaining silent, a practice that can bring peace, wisdom, and inner strength. The power of silence is not merely the ability to stop talking. It is the ability to master yourself, knowing when to speak, when to be quiet, and in that quietness, finding true freedom. Silence in Stoic philosophy does not equate to passivity. A person on this path is not silent out of avoidance or fear, but because they understand. Rash words can destroy a friendship, an opportunity, even a life. Silence is not empty, but full of observation, understanding, and disciplined strength. Marcus Aurelius once wrote, "If what you're about to say isn't necessary, don't say it." Hidden within that sentence is a truth. Controlling your speech is controlling your mind. We have all experienced moments of provocation, insult, or pressure. Our first instinct is often to respond, argue, or explain. Yet in that moment, silence can be a far more powerful response. When we are silent, we refuse to let others control our mood. We reclaim mastery over our emotions. And paradoxically, in silence, we begin to hear the voice within, the voice of reason, intuition, and wisdom long buried under the noise of the world. The power of silence is most evident in the ability to conserve energy. People who talk excessively about trivial things often end up drained and distracted. Those who know when to be silent preserve their energy for what truly matters: action, creativity, self-building. The Stoics teach us that action is more valuable than words. Live to prove rather than speak to prove. The quiet strength of a steady person creates a particular kind of presence that earns respect. Silence also nourishes deep wisdom. When you are silent, you allow your thoughts to mature before expressing them. Hasty words are often shallow. Words steeped in silence carry weight. Seneca advised his students, "Be silent until what you are about to say is better than silence." This is not harshness, but reverence. Reverence for the power of words and for the stillness of the soul. In modern life, silence becomes a survival skill. On social media, we are bombarded by arguments, attacks, and negativity. The reflex to respond immediately exhausts our minds. Those who know how to remain silent avoid being pulled into this vortex. They do not feel obliged to answer every criticism or clarify every misunderstanding. They understand that their value does not depend on what others think, but on how they live. Silence here is not avoidance, but discernment. The choice not to waste your precious energy. At work, silence allows you to observe, listen, and truly understand before you speak. People who speak less but at the right moment are seen as trustworthy and credible. True leaders are not the loudest in the room, but the most attentive listeners. By staying silent, they gather information, understand people, and make wise decisions. This reflects Stoic philosophy. We cannot control circumstances, but we can control our reactions. And sometimes that reaction is silence. In relationships, silence can be a healing force. During conflict, it gives us time to calm down and avoid hurtful words. In moments of grief, silent empathy can mean more than 1,000 words of comfort. Stoic teaching reminds us to live with kindness and wisdom. Sometimes the kindest thing is simply to listen. The power of silence here lies not only in restraint, but in presence. Deep, unspoken presence. Silence is also a way to reconnect with yourself. In stillness, you hear your true thoughts, your true dreams, your true fears. It is a space for self-reflection and adjustment. Marcus Aurelius wrote his journals each night, silent conversations with himself. This practice helped him remain calm under the crushing responsibilities of an emperor. We too can take a few minutes each day without screens, without notifications, just breathing and listening to our own minds. This can strengthen us more than any course or seminar. From a motivational perspective, the power of silence does not make you invisible, it makes you shine in a deeper way. A self-mastered person does not need to shout to prove themselves. Their presence alone speaks volumes. Those who know when to be silent are not weak but confident enough not to chase attention. This is the power of an inner leader, of someone who governs themselves. History offers countless examples of people who use silence as a spiritual weapon. They did not respond to every attack, nor did they join every debate. Instead, they worked, created, and contributed. Their actions echoed louder than any words. This is exactly the Stoic spirit. Let your philosophy be expressed more in actions than in words. Of course, silence does not mean muteness. The power of silence lies in choice. You are silent because you choose, not because you are forced. When what you are about to say is necessary, useful, and kind, speak. When it is only to satisfy the ego, to argue fruitlessly, or to harm others, remain silent. This is the hardest art of life, knowing when to speak and when to be silent. Practicing the power of silence daily will make you calmer under pressure, wiser in decisions, and freer in spirit. You will no longer be a slave to impulsive reactions. You will no longer be easily provoked. You become the awakened observer in a rushing world. And in that awareness, you find freedom. Start with small steps. In the morning, spend a few minutes without your phone, just sitting in silence and breathing. When someone angers you, instead of reacting immediately, take a deep breath and stay quiet for a moment. In meetings, listen more than you speak. When friends confide in you, don't rush to advise. Sometimes your silent listening is the greatest gift. Each of these small acts gradually trains you in deliberate silence. The power of silence. Looking back on life, you will find many regrets over things you said, but rarely regrets over things you did not say. The Stoics remind us, happiness does not come from controlling the world, but from controlling ourselves. Silence is the first step on that path. The power of silence not only brings you peace, but also makes you deeper, more influential, and ultimately free. In a world losing its stillness, each person who practices the power of silence creates a small oasis of peace for the soul. There, you are no longer swept up by the noise, the arguments, the negativity. There, you find yourself. And when you find yourself, you can truly give, love, and radiate value. The power of silence is not a passing trend. It is the foundation of all inner growth. When you master your speech, you master your actions. When you master your actions, you master your life. In that silence, you discover steadiness, courage, and the light that guides you and others. This is a power no one can take from you. The power of a free soul.